We're talking about Michael Conforto, and recently when we asked who would have a more productive season between Conforto and McNeil, both Rec and Steve said Conforto. And Steve, there's precedent here, right? Like you kind of pick Conforto as the breakout, the potential MVP pick almost every year. Would you say that's accurate?
Yeah, no, I'd say that's accurate. I think on opening day last year, that was my entire pregame hit this is the year. This is the year Michael Conforto is going to be an MVP candidate. And I was wrong, but if they ever play baseball this season, this is the year.
Well, so let's have a conversation about why you're not really wrong. So, because I think every year we think that's coming. Every year Conforto's good, but there's some injury hiccups at times. Obviously, the shoulder was the big one, and then obviously the slumps midseason. We'll get to that in a second. Anthony, do you think that what Steve's talking about, the ability to be in that MVP conversation, is something that Michael Conforto possesses?
Absolutely. I think this guy he's got power to all fields. And that's like almost the first thing you think about when you think of offensive production and offensive WAR and the ability to be an offensive MVP per se. I think he has the ability to go everywhere, opposite field, pull the ball. We saw him come up in 15. We saw him kind of burst onto the scene. Some big hits, obviously had some troubles here and there, but we thought, okay, this guy's young, he's going to learn. 16, very similar season with some injuries too. But 17, he really kind of came out there and we kind of saw the guy that we thought, he could be. And I thought that was even another stepping stone for him. I thought he had even more in the tank. And I think that's where we're at right now is we all saw that 17 as almost like a flirtation with what Conforto can be.
Streakiness seems to be the only major thing that he can clean up in terms of batting 230 one month and 290 another month, and how sometimes he looks a little lost, he's chasing a lot, and actually kind of presumed that chasing out of the zone was one of his issues. But when I looked it up, his chase rate out of the zone is like 4% better than the rest of the league. So it's not even that. So really just a little bit more consistency to get that batting average and the OPS up a little bit. But I'm sure that's easier said than done because it still adds up to a 270-ish hitter with 30 home runs, and that's not so bad.
I've had so many conversations with him about this, and I think that's part of why I always believe he's going to be an MVP candidate this upcoming season, because he understands that if he can just limit those slumps, then that's his potential. I think a lot of it has to do with mentally sometimes what he gets into at the plate. He talks about at times, and this is kind of to Andy's point, when he seems lost almost and he's swinging at all these pitches that are really pitcher's pitches. He talks about sometimes trying to swing his way out of slumps when he needs to remain patient and start to really think about what pitchers are trying to do to him. He doesn't recognize that change quickly enough, and he's talked about trying to just change that recognition a little bit sooner and get back to doing what he does well.